Boom.
Hey, hello everybody. Welcome to Hump Day Hangouts, episode number 88, as we inch our way closer and closer to episode 100 here. So today is the 13th of July, 2016, and we've got almost the full crew. I think Chris might be popping in later, but right now he's MIA. He's down in Florida right now. So let's go down and say hello real quick. Hernan, how's it going?
Hey guys, hey Adam, hey Facebook, hey Google Plus, hey everyone. It's really good to be here.
Soon we're just gonna have like Bradley surrounded by like a multi-monitor thing with like
Right.
10 different cell phones on it, so we can do everything.
Like Hollywood Squares. You remember that?
Yeah.
Marco, how's the weather down there?
It's warm and sunny, surprisingly. We haven't had rain or that much rain for about 2 or 3 weeks, so it's really good. It's the rainy season, actually, so no rain
Nice.
during the rainy season is always good.
Hey, man. I don't know about you, Bradley. I'm guessing you're pretty warm too, because I'm a couple hundred miles north of you, and it is hot up here.
Yeah, it's nasty. The end of July to August is always nasty in Virginia. It gets really humid. It's awful. But
Ugh. All
I'm
right.
glad
Well,
we're
on a
doing the
happier
best now.
note, I think you're going to tell everybody about the change for the. I'll mention Master's Minute because that's what we were talking about last time. So that's the lead off. I'll let you jump in from there.
Okay, so we're gonna call it Rant Mastery. We're gonna it's a instead of minute with the masters, which is what we were gonna do. Potentially. So every day we're gonna try to jump in, at least on weekdays, and jump on like Facebook Live or something, and just kind of rant about something. And we were calling it before Minute with the Masters, but we like Mastery better. So if you guys want to check it out, we've got a Google form up, and it's 100% anonymous. So all you got to do is go to rant.semanticmastery.com. So rant.semanticmastery.com, and it's a Google form, and you can submit a question or a topic or something that you would like us to sound off about. And we're going to start on a daily basis. One of us will just jump on the Facebook Live and produce a rant about a particular topic or subject. So keep in mind, it's complete. We're going to get a bunch of submissions. We're only going to be able to select one topic per day. So your submission does not guarantee that it's going to be about. However, we do encourage you to submit your any topics or issues or anything that you would like to hear us sound off about, and we're going to select from them every day. Okay.
Yeah, just so everybody's aware, this is not a replacement for Hump Day Hangouts. So please don't ask like 15-part questions with 3 subsections. Like they won't
Oh
get
yeah,
answered.
that's not what this is about. I mean, you can submit a question. Don't get me wrong, but don't submit an essay question because we're not going to answer that on that. That's not what this is for. That's
Yeah,
not
we
what
won't
this
have
platform
time,
is.
and we don't want you to get confused. So this would be like short stuff. Keep it brief.
Yep.
Cool. Let's see, Hernan. I think you had an announcement about IFTTT, right?
Yeah, indeed. Once a month we are trying to invite you guys, usually the members from the V2, the IFTTT SEO Academy 2.0 group, to join us and to share with us your results. Because that's what it's all about. It's a community and we love sharing results. We have a dedicated thread on the Facebook group in order for you to share that. And what's good about it is that if you share your results with us and you're willing to make a case study, and you're selected because we go through a selection process every month, you can hop on Mastermind for 1 month for free and then get a deal to keep going on there. So I think it's pretty cool. If you're into the V2 group, it's a great opportunity for you to showcase a case study. Usually, it's a way of keeping accountability as well. I have worked with case studies on forums, on communities before, and it's a great it's a great exercise for for me to keep track of everything, and also for you guys to share the results that you guys are getting. And if you're not on the V2 group, what are you waiting for? Like really,
Fair enough.
Yeah. So that's basically it.
Cool. I was looking at my own little thing down here. I think people can see it, or not, or when I'm talking, you can see the background, obviously. And I realized I got lazy a couple weeks ago, and I stopped putting the green screen all the way over. And I've got the whiteboard wall showing. So I was just curious if anyone else is using a whiteboard wall or uses chalkboards. Just let me know on the page. I'm just curious because I haven't seen one in another house yet, and I really love using it. Like if I could have a blackboard, I think I'd do that. Just a huge one. So, here we go. Nice.
Mine's
All right.
got Mine's got my daughter likes to draw on it too, so I've always got pictures from my daughter.
Bradley,
which
you
is,
don't have to apologize just because you like to
Right.
doodle.
yeah, I like to
It's-
doodle too, but
Yeah,
those
you're
are actually hers. And I always leave them up because it gives me something to smile about in the middle of the day, you know. So
Awesome. All right, cool. Well, I think that's it for announcements. You guys got anything else, or?
I don't think so.
Yeah, we were talking about the I don't know, because we don't even have a name for it. All we have is an idea of what this is going to be like. But we what we want people to do is to be able to build on their success, right? So you get to a certain point, and you need to know how to scale it, how to go beyond that, how to actually build a business with a corporate structure, because we actually have a corporate structure, and we have VAs, we have part-time employees, and we have all of the, we have to do accounting, and we have to do all these different things besides everything else that we do. I mean, we don't just do marketing. We do SEO, we do lead gen, we do affiliate, we do consultation, we do coding, development. We just do so much. And so for people who are looking to get past just, if you like client work, that's fine. If you want to scale your client work, maybe this is for you. But if you just want to build a real business that can get you the kind of income that will allow you to, as Bradley likes to say, to work on your business rather than in your business, this is the kind of thing that we're thinking about. So I just want to put that out there just so people know what it is that we're kind of pushing towards and where we'd like to go with this. And it's coming in the future. No, I don't see it too far, but it's coming.
Yeah. Okay. Last thing was just turn on. I saw we had on the YouTube channel a testimonial submitted that was like a slideshow video. And it was pretty cool. Pete Lucas, I believe, submitted it. So maybe we can grab that and share that on the page for others to see. It might help them. Yeah. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, he was one. In fact, he was one of the winners from last month. So, okay. You know, we are talking. By the way, guys, that's a good point. If you get to, you know, if you have a case study, if you do not know how to format, you know, just post on the V2 group or contact me privately, and we will figure that out. Pete Lucas is going to have a free month of Mastermind, which is pretty cool.
Cool. So yeah, I just thought it might be worth sharing on the page for the others to see what kind of like how he submitted his, which works great. There's various ways that you could submit a case study, but what he wrote, that video was kind of cool. It was unique. So okay, guys, we're gonna go ahead and jump into questions. I think we're good for that, right, Adam?
Yeah, it looks like we're good to go.
All right. So guys, make sure you're seeing my screen. I'm switching.
Got your Firefox.
Okay, right. So you should be seeing the event page, right?
Correct.
All right, so we're good to go. Let's see. Lee Wan says, is IFTTT SEO its only ranked new post video? Can't rank the post page we created before? Yeah, you can. Let's see. New post. Can't rank the post or page we created before. Well, it's difficult. Pages don't syndicate unless you use a plugin like RSS includes pages, which will allow you to insert pages into your RSS feed. However, if it's been pre-published, then you're not gonna. It's not going to auto, like if you add that plugin and you're using your feed, it's not going to trigger IFTTT to syndicate. That only happens when you have a new post, a new published post. And apparently, it doesn't work to just change the publishing date anymore. I haven't tested it myself in a while, but it used to work where you could schedule the post to, like for example, if it was already published, you could change it to draft mode or whatever and then schedule the publishing date for a time in the future, and that could literally be 5 minutes from now, right? And then after 5 minutes you just refresh the page and it would, and it will show that it's published again, and that will reinsert it into the feed. At least it used to. I haven't confirmed that recently, but it's been a few months since I've done that, but that's also a manual way and it sucks, so I don't recommend doing that. However, the developers that also created the RSS includes pages plugin also has a plugin called Republish Old Posts. So those two plugins can work in tandem and can accomplish what it is that you do. Now, one of our mastermind members decided when I suggested to use that plugin that I guess decided not to use it or test it himself. So I tested it myself last week just to confirm that it does work, because it's been a while since I've used that one too. But Republish Old Posts, you install it, it's free. They have an upgraded version. I don't think you need that. And then you go into the settings and you change the publishing settings and like how it republishes old posts. But it's not instant, guys. So like if you set it to republish old posts to check for old posts or whatever every 24 hours or something like that, and you'll see what I'm talking about in the settings, then you have to wait, and you have to wait for 24 hours, and I think there's a 4-hour plus or minus window to kind of randomize it a little bit. So you might have to wait, a day, day and a half before you see an old post being pulled in and reinserted into the RSS feed, but it will trigger the IFTTT network, and that's an automated way to do it, and it's kind of cool because it'll drip out old posts or old pages if you want pages to be included as well. It'll drip them out over a period of time so that it's not just a big data dump onto your network, if that makes sense. So that's the best way to do it. I wonder if as far as videos, there are like recipes that you can use to resyndicate old videos, and we've got tutorials on how to do that inside the IFTTT SEO V2 training. It's in the update section, and the like recipes are on the account workbook template. Okay. All right, Mark says, hey guys, when building a new site that you're only wanting to rank in maps, do you wait a certain length of time before building the branded network and the citations, or are you not worried about link velocity because there won't be a huge amount of links? Mark, I don't worry about link velocity for new sites that I'm just trying to rank in maps, especially for citations. Like usually what I'll do is I'll do an analysis of the competition first, to get an idea of how many citations the people that are in the 3-pack currently have, like an average or a median number. And then what I'll do is I'll try to meet or exceed that with citations, and that's pretty much it. And you'll find, guys, for a lot of industries, markets, whatever, you're going to see a lot of sites don't have a lot of citations actually. And so it's not really that difficult. And I'll just buy a pretty big package to start. And then once I get the citation links back in the report, then I always grab the URLs from the listing, the citation URLs, and I'll go submit them to an indexing service. Okay, because that helps. A lot of citations take forever to index, or they just and you won't see them all the time in like Majestic and Ahrefs. Very similar to like Web 2.0 links. You won't see a lot of your citation links show up as backlinks in a lot of the backlink analysis tools. However, you will see them in Google Search Console if you go take a look at your domain there. Okay. All right, next one. Alex says, hey guys, my SEO journey is off to a great start. Having doubts as this is my first SEO campaign, but I'm pushing forward. Well, congratulations, Alex. I would +1 that, but I'm not signed in Firefox, so I can't. Somebody else +1 that. He says, I've learned a lot since one of your previous Hangouts, and I have been able to open my mind as you guys suggested. I've gotten my first video ranked onto the first page of Google, but sometimes it's up there and sometimes it's not. Why is this happening? That's normal, Alex. It's called the Google dance, especially with videos. You'll find that over time your channel, as it gains a little bit of authority, that it won't happen as much, but especially with newer videos or newer channels, you're going to see that happening a lot. Okay, so don't worry about it. Don't freak out. With videos, you can go in and start editing and stuff. Most of the time, I say just leave it alone. Like if you syndicated a video to a network that you've set up, or several networks, whatever, just leave it alone. I always wait about 14 days before I start doing additional SEO things to the video, because 14 days gives it enough time for it to stop doing the Google dance and to kind of settle in where it should be settled in from all of the syndication points. In other words, all the video syndicating out across the network will have received all the benefit within 14 days that it's going to get from that single syndication, if that makes sense. But then from that point, I'll do additional work if needed. So that's like build additional links to it, do additional embeds, send it out through a SendWire blast or FCS networker, or get a tweet the URL and then get a bunch of retweets to it, because those are social embeds. So there's a number of other things you could do. You could set up another network and do the like recipes, like what we mentioned, to resyndicate an old video. So there's multiple things that you could do, but just give it about 14 days before you start doing anything else to it. Okay. He says, also, I've been revisiting the RSS lessons from IFTTT Academy, and I wanted to ask, should RSS feeds be submitted or spliced just once, or would I see better results if I keep submitting repeatedly? Is it worth the time? No, there's a diminishing return, Alex. Just do it once and be done with it. You don't need to keep creating a bunch of weird feeds. I've tested that. I used to spend a lot of time testing different methods with RSS, and splicing and then resplicing or burning new spliced feeds, or in other words, like if I created a feed, a spliced feed, and let's say then I would go burn a feed burner feed out of that same feed, and then a Yahoo Pipes feed, that would give me 3 separate unique feed URLs for that one feed. And then I could submit all 3 of those. And then I would go and burn another version of it, like burn a feed burner feed out of the Yahoo Pipes feed. Does that make sense? So, and then go submit that. But really, there's a diminishing return. You don't really need to do that. And Yahoo Pipes isn't available anymore anyways, guys, so don't freak out. But you really don't need to do that. Just create the feeds, splice in whatever you're going to, like related content feeds, that sort of thing, and then go submit them to aggregators. Use a tool, a submission tool if you have one. If you don't, you can always hire a Fiverr gig. That's what I suggest that you do. And then submit it and just be done with it. Move on. Okay? Lastly, what would you recommend as far as quality content goes? I've been purchasing from TextBroker, but I'm worried the articles may be spun or may be reused after I publish them. Thanks. Yeah, for money site content, I have, you know, some pretty good paid writers that I use. If it's a lead gen site, then yeah, I'll use a content farm because I don't care. It's a lead gen site. For like big money sites or for client sites, then I have you know, a US based and an English, a UK based writers that I use for like money site content, and I'll pay somewhere around like $40 for a 1,000 word article. So what is that, like 4 cents per word or something, which actually is not a bad price. But that's high quality, like top tier content, which actually, like I said, is a really good price. But if you're doing like lead gen sites and stuff, then you can get away with using content farms. Don't worry about it if that's what it is. If you're doing money site stuff, then for pages you're going to want to have original content. For posts you can use curated content, which is what we always recommend. Okay, because it's more efficient. I'd rather use a curated article for a post than a shitty $2 content farm article, because that's just crappy content for the most part. For pages, you know, like I said, if it's lead gen stuff, I wouldn't worry about it too much. You could get away with. As a matter of fact, the Pete Lucas case study that we were just talking about at the beginning of the Hangout was a test, and if Hernan dropped that video, you can see the case study video that we're talking about right here on the event page, and you'll see that Pete Lucas set up a test, and and I've known this to be true because of ATM sites that I build with Lead Gadget, that you can have pretty much the same content across hundreds, even thousands of pages, and they'll still rank for local, and it still does. I don't recommend it for money sites. I recommend that you have you know, unique content for all the pages, but you can use content farms for that if you need to. But for money sites, absolutely, like big money sites or like client sites, you're going to want to use all original content that's high quality. Okay, and for that, just go find your own writer. It's good to have a relationship, to build a relationship with like a specific writer, because then they get to know what it is that you're looking for, and you get to know their style, so that you know that you have consistent content, a source for consistent content. Does that make sense? And so it's really worth like going to Upwork, interviewing a few. In fact, we just put out an entire training course under Mastery PR called Outsource Kingpin that will teach you how to set up like a hiring funnel and that kind of stuff. If you wanted, you could always put a writer on staff, or you could hire somebody on a per project basis, and you could actually interview some separate writers and find one that's a good fit for you. And that's a good way to do it. If you're going to make a true business out of this, you should have a relationship with a writer that you know, you can always turn to for content needs. All right, that was it for him, right? Yeah, it was him. Okay, Greg says, using proxies in Windows is a pain in the ass, or arse as he said it. Can you recommend any free or low-cost apps other than browseo that might allow you to use multiple browsers with its own IP address? I don't know of any others other than browseo.
Well, you know, there are some VPNs out there that will allow you something that's called tunneling, which basically you assign one of those IPs to an application. So let's say you have your native IP on Chrome and you're having the VPN on Firefox, you know. So I think I have somewhere, I'll need to look for it. I have a deal for one of the, I think it's unlimited VPN. It's for lifetime or something like that. It's super cheap, and it will allow you to do something called tunneling, which is this. I mean, it will allow you to turn it on selectively depending on the app that you're using. Just remember that those IPs, they are not dynamic like they are on proxies, or they are being used by several people, but you can emulate another location from your without having to change your system IP. That's my point.
Yeah, I mean that's why typically if you're going to do it manually, which is how I had done it before, was I would just use Firefox. You use Foxy Proxy so that you're logged in as a proxy. Do all of your work on it as a specific account set in that browser, in that Firefox browser, because then you know that you're underneath that IP. Then if you go to switch accounts, then you just close everything down. You go through the cleanup process, the cleaning process with using CCleaner and Proxy Tool, which is that add-on bar that goes across the bottom of Firefox. All that training's in there, and just clean it all, and then close your browser, restart the browser, and then set up the new IP, which is really simple with Foxy Proxy, and then just go work on your next account set. I mean, that's really the only way that we have done it. And Browseo came out, and I have Browseo on my own computer because I use it sometimes for some video project stuff. But other than that, my RVAs don't even use Browseo. It's a great product, and in fact, they probably should. But it's just a matter of we had trained them on the method that we have inside of IFTTT SEO Academy, and so that's the actual process that they still use too, because they're typically only working on one account set at a time anyways. So you can do it that way. Those of you that are doing a whole lot of building yourselves, which I don't know why you would be, but if you are, then Browseo would be a big help. It's worth the investment because it would save you a lot of time. Okay. Also, what about logging into persona networks? Google doesn't hassle you so much when you log into network from consistent location. If Bob lives in Phoenix, then shouldn't you be logging into Phoenix via VPN or have some better control of login IP address? Greg, at some point maybe that will be the case, but right now it has not been an issue. At some point I believe that is going to cause a problem, but for now it doesn't, and I know that to be true. Here's the deal, Greg. When if we create and I'm saying we because we sell the networks to people all the time, but let's say that you created, I don't know where you're located, but let's say that you're in Florida, okay, and that you build a persona network based in Phoenix. Then once the account has been created, you can log in through your own IP so that it binds to your account, and it has not caused any problems to this point. Like I said, at some point in the future it may, but it's been 4 years that I've been doing this and I haven't had any issues with it yet. But the other thing is you could also make yourself log into the Phoenix persona account through the proxy that you were using to create the account, and then assign your main profile, so the Greg Drebert profile, as a manager. So then whenever you're logging into that account from now on, you're doing it from your own computer, from your own profile, so it doesn't matter where you're located because you're a manager. If that's an issue that you're worried about, to be honest with you guys, I don't worry about it. Okay, when I have networks delivered to me from my builders, I just log in as soon as I get them back from my own IP, and that's it. I set them up. I'm just letting you guys know. Be honest. I know there are some real, like people that are real nervous about that, and tinfoil hat, the whole 9 yards, and I'm just going to tell you the truth. I don't really worry about it because it hasn't seemed to have any negative effect at this point so far. Okay, but if you want to get really, if you're worried about it, just do that. Just log, once you have created the accounts via the proxy, just assign yourself as a manager, because then you can log in and do whatever. And guys, you only need to do that for the Google account. Everything else you're pretty much fine anyways. Okay, so and that's why we don't teach to set up fake Facebook profiles, because you will IP lock Facebook very quickly. That's why we don't do that. Adam Young says, hey guys, questions about ranking local map. Can we rank one Google My Business page for 2 different languages? That's a good question. I don't know, Adam. Hernan, Marco?
Yeah, I saw this earlier before we came on, and it's interesting, but it's not anything that I've tested yet.
Yeah.
Well, one Google My Business for 2 different languages, I don't think so, Adam. You could treat the 2 different languages, because I like to treat languages as subdomains. So you can treat the 2 different languages as two different separate websites. You know what I mean? I know that they
Yeah,
will
but
have
if it's the same phone number and the same address, though, couldn't that cause NAP issues?
Well, yeah, that's something that we will need to check out, because I like to treat like different languages as different entities, because that's the deal. You're dealing with an entire different, set of SEO rules. Like I do a lot of Spanish English stuff, and that's the deal. Google doesn't even work as well in Spanish or any other language for that matter. But on the Google My Business side of things, well, we will have to double check actually.
Now that you mentioned entity, from an entity standpoint, you'd be creating ambiguation if you use the NAP on the same NAP on both. And so from that standpoint, I would just say no, because you don't want to do that. You don't want to be ambiguous when it comes to the business.
Right.
You want to make sure that your entity is what it is, and that Google knows exactly what that verified entity is, especially with regards to the semantic web. So that's a good point. You have to be careful with that with the entity and whatever signals you're sending to Google.
Yeah. Yeah, I would worry about that too because of NAP issues. And that's what. So we just had a conversation about this in one of the groups. Somebody was asking about having two businesses with different names, but they were in the same location, so they had the same name and the same phone number, and I said that's probably not a good idea. I've experienced stuff like that, guys. It's a real pain in the ass. Like if you have two businesses at the same location and they have a unique name, they share the same address, but they have different unique phone numbers and different web addresses. That's usually okay. It's usually if you start to share 2 out of 3 of the data points from NAP, that's when it starts to cause problems. Right. So usually, if there's only one shared data point across multiple listings or whatever, then it doesn't create NAP issues. That's just typically how it works out. So I would recommend against that, Adam. Trying to do that, anyways. Do something where if you were to change the name, use a subdomain, and then have a second forwarding phone number, you could do that. You can get away with that. Like Hernan said, have a subdomain with one of the languages versions of it, and then just change the name, which it might be changed just because it's in a different language. I don't know. But then you could have the same physical address, but then for the phone number, just get a different virtual phone number and have that forward to the same destination. If all calls route to the same place anyways, it wouldn't matter. But at least you'd have a unique phone number then. Right.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be more related to the queries that trigger that listing. Probably the name is going to be pretty much the same, but the keywords are going to be different.
That's true.
The queries are going to be different, so that could work. I mean, the fact that you get another phone number, maybe another PO box, I don't know, but we'll need to test at the end of the day. So.
Yeah. William says, does the RSS feed trigger still work for IFTTT, or would having a Twitter trigger be better? Yeah, it still works, William. It absolutely still works. Meaning, does it cause a problem syndicating full text content with raw URLs to the homepage, etc.? No, it doesn't cause a problem if you do it the way that, like if you're syndicating your content to branded properties, you're just sharing your content to your other branded properties. So, no, it doesn't cause any issues. It's when you start stacking persona-based networks on a website for blog syndication that can cause problems. But you don't want to do that. But when you're syndicating the branded properties, you're sharing your content across your social media properties. That's what the big brands do. It's pretty much encouraged. So that's what we do. We just automate the process, right?
It's a good question actually, because I've seen that probably some vendors are doing like Twitter, that they base their syndication on Twitter. So you will tweet automatically and then you will trigger from Twitter, which is an intelligent approach. Now my question would be, why wouldn't you do both? Like for example, on the Semantic Mastery plugin, the RSS plugin, the Semantic RSS Control, the Pro version, which is available for Mastermind members, we have a separate feed for Twitter, with hashtags and the whole 9 yards. So I think that could trigger another syndication network or something like that. But what do you think, Marco? I think this is...
Well, we also created Twitter SEO Academy from RYS Academy, which deals right into this. where you create a separate IFTTT network to syndicate the tweets.
Yeah.
And to bring back, to make your Twitter, whatever your Twitter is, to give it trust and authority, and to give you that much more standing inside of Twitter. So we do have that.
That's a good point.
It is a good idea, but I wouldn't do it instead of IFTTT.
Do it in addition
I would do it
to.
as an add-on.
Yeah. Yeah, in addition to, instead of and not instead of, do it in addition to. And that's what I was going to say. That's actually a good point, because if you syndicate your content to your branded properties, full text feed, RSS trigger, that's fine. That's what we've been doing, and it works great. Again, I think it's the Google tickle. We're giving several signals. We're triggering the good part of Google's algorithm. But at the same time, you can do that with the Twitter, is set up a separate syndication network around your Twitter, or just triggered by Twitter, and get additional juice. You could set up persona-based networks that are triggered by Twitter. I don't see why that would be an issue. In fact, I haven't actually explored that myself, but I don't see why that would cause an issue, because like you said, it would be basically building links back to the tweet, which would have a URL back to the post that you were syndicating from your money site, right? So you'd be basically juicing just the post URLs through Twitter, which isn't a bad idea. So that's a pretty good way to do it. Now, I like Marco just said, I wouldn't do it instead of. I would do it as an addition to. Okay. One last question: is there a rule such as if you should have X pieces of original content on your site versus every one post that you syndicate? Thank you. I don't think so. I mean, I syndicate everything, because it only makes sense. If I produce content on a money site, I want all of the social media properties around the money site to link back to that post, to basically share that post. So why would I have any posts on my site that aren't being shared? Because remember, we're doing it for SEO, but we're also doing it for traffic, guys. You know, by sharing your content on social media networks where there's potentially traffic, you could get traffic back to your site, which is essentially what you want to do. So it's not just about the SEO, right? So I think you should be sharing all of your content to your branded properties. There's no doubt. And
syndication also creates trust and social signals, which is part of the Google tickle.
Yeah. Brian says, what category in my schema JSON markup would I use for Mosquito Pest Control Company? Brian, there's a guys, all of you bookmark this. I'm going to grab the URL and I'm going to drop it on the event page up at the top. But this is, and I'll open it up over here first so you guys can see it. This is a Google Doc that it's updated in real time. I don't know who maintains it, but these are the schema list categories for local businesses. Okay, so, and it's a big list, and so just scroll down and look. I looked earlier for you because I saw this question earlier, and there is no mosquito control in here. At least I'm pretty sure there wasn't. I did look. Let's see, no, but there is pest control. But pest control is underneath the overall or the general right here, pest control service. So line 272. I'm going to drop this link, guys. Just bear with me. But pest control service doesn't have its own category, so it's schema.org/professional service. And the first letter of those two words are capitalized. So that's what I would use, is professional service, because this is updated often. Again, I don't know who maintains it, but this is what I've been using now for about 2 years. That's right, I can't comment on that because I'm not logged in. You know, Adam, I'm going to drop this in Slack.
I also dropped in a
URL
for him a little bit above, where you can just go and set up the schema it's a JSON LD schema generator. And the recommendations that I gave were either professional service or general contractor, just for that reason, because there is nothing for pest control or anything like that. But you should just drop in that URL also for everyone.
Yeah, could somebody post that on the page if it hasn't been done already? I can't post on this.
It's on there.
Okay. All right, so try that. Hopefully that helps. Yeah, that's it. So professional service is really the subcategory that it should fall under for now. Guys, they're updating this, and so like it's interesting, but you'll see over time that some of these that are more general or ambiguous, you know, like a broader, like professional service covers a lot, right? But you'll see that as the schema.org database gets updated, that they'll come in and edit these, and they'll have more specific, like pet store, for example. Okay. All right, Richard says, let's see if you can clear up some confusion. Last week I mentioned how there was a Facebook thread that said IFTTT SEO is a waste of time. You are all aware of that thread since I read your responses and think they were spot on. Anyway, my confusion this week is because the person who runs the Facebook group did a post today.
Uh-oh.
This is funny. Okay, because Marco pointed this out earlier. I didn't know we had somebody comment on this. I'm trying to absorb as much knowledge as I can about SEO. Mark decided to read the blog. To my surprise, the blog post recommends social signals and social profiles as a social media tactic to send trust signals to Google and IFTTT for automating it. But isn't that IFTTT SEO, or am I missing something? No, you're not missing anything, Brian or Richard. Excuse me. That's exactly what it is. So, that's exactly what it is. Sorry for being such a noob, but I have to admit I am baffled. I heard Marco repeatedly refer to this as the Google tickle, and here is blank. I won't mention his name, saying the same thing, but he said last week that it was a waste of time. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what that's what I'm saying. Marco pointed that earlier today. It was, I think it was more about stirring up controversy than it was anything.
Yeah.
Can you guys agree on that, or what?
Yeah, I think it. At some point, Richard, you will see that there's a bunch of articles that are clickbait. I mean, IFTTT is definitely a hot topic. I mean, it's being used for a ton of things. And if you are a blog and if you want to get some of that piece of that pie, you will add to that controversy or to be in the to kind of be in the genre of IFTTT. So I think it is. It makes sense. We ended up sharing the Facebook thread because we wanted everyone to go ahead and comment, not on our side, but with their own.
Yeah. Have a real debate about it.
Right. Yeah. Which is a great thing, by the way. So that's exactly what IFTTT SEO does: traffic, social signals, and of course backlinks and increased rankings. So why not use it?
And here's the thing, guys. Like I said, I truly believe that post was more about stirring up controversy than anything. Was to get traffic to the Facebook page. I mean, I know it's Charles Floty, right? The god of SEO, and he's smart, man. He's a crafty guy. So I truly believe that first post was to stir up controversy because I'm quite sure that he does use IFTTT at least at some level for automating social signals and everything else. And so I think he was smart in stirring up controversy, and it did get a nice debate going that we all contributed to. And we stated our cases clearly, and I stand by all my statements, just as I'm sure the rest of my team does as well. So. Can you talk about this a bit more? Yeah, we just did. Again, I truly believe that he did that intentionally. So, sorry for being such a long post, but you have to admit that SEO information that's being shared is confusing and even contradictory. Absolutely, Richard. I mean, there is a ton of contradictory statements out there, and I always say you have to consider the source of the information and go look at it and see what what qualifies them to give advice. And I'm not saying our training is the only thing that works. There's no doubt. There's a million ways to skin a cat, guys. We share what works for us, that has worked for us for years, and we are always trying to stay on the cutting edge of SEO as well. So that's what we share. But it's not ours. Certainly isn't the only way either. So,
as I said last week, I mean, what we have is the people who have been successful with our training, who can stand up and say, yes, it does work, or come in and say, look, your stuff doesn't work. And then we can get into, well, why didn't it work? And did you do everything according to the training? Because we've had people come and say, well, this doesn't work, but they only tried a couple of posts to an IFTT network and trying to take down something like I mentioned, DUI attorney plus city. You can't do that. I mean, there's no way. No, it's not going to work for that. But if you do it on a regular basis and over time, and you develop the trust and the authority, and you send the right signals to the algorithm, it's going to take notice. It might take 3 to 6 months, unless you use our IS Academy, of course. Hint, hint. But yeah, I mean, over time, I would put this up against anybody and say, look, I challenge you to go in and do the training the way that you're supposed to, and then tell us, no, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And show it. Show us with your case study. If you don't test, if you just come in and you give your opinion, it's useless. It's useless because you're not giving us anything that we can go on, right? That there's nothing, no empirical information that we can base anything on. Go in, test it, and if it doesn't work, then you're welcome to come in and say you guys suck. and I'll say, yeah, I'll give you the +1. But unless you can do that, don't say shit, man.
Hernan, were you going to finish commenting on that, or are we good?
No, I think we're good. Marco made a great point with us pushing the test side of things. We always say that because, you know, we have people from all over the world. We have people on the most diverse niches. So it's all a matter of testing. You know, we are out there in the trenches, working for clients, working for our own projects, and we are testing. That's why we're sharing stuff. I know that that the guys commenting on those kind of posts are too. You know, it's just a matter of who tests and you know what are the results. That's what we are always preaching. You know, do not believe us. Just go out there and test it. You know, put it to work.
That's right. Okay, Jay says, just wondering if virtual offices or mailboxes still work for lead gen sites for you. Yes, Jay. In fact, I just picked up 2 more mailboxes on Tuesday of this week, or Monday. What's today? Wednesday. Today's hump day, so it was Monday. I picked up 2 mailboxes on Monday for 2 more. I'm working on not the next product that we're launching, but the one after that. I'm already working on that, developing that, and that's for local. It's called Local Kingpin, and we're going to be. I'm building out some local funnels with that, and so I needed 2 more locations. So I picked up 2 more on Monday. So it absolutely still works. That's all I've been doing for the last, I don't know, 3 years. In fact, I use the post office, U.S. Post Office, and I get a P.O. box and use the street address option. Works like a freaking charm. In fact, one of the mailboxes I got on Monday was only $48 for the entire year. $48, man, that's awesome. The other one was $86 for the year. So I got 2 new locations for, on average, what, $65 per location per year. So that's dirt cheap, guys, and it works like a charm. So he says, I'm assuming renting a mailbox with the actual physical address, and then he gives an example, is better than just a regular mailbox. I'm not sure what you mean by that. I'm not sure what you mean, like, because whenever you rent a virtual mailbox, you get the street address of the building that it's in, and then you get the box number. So I'm not sure what you mean. Can you share what you're doing for that, or give me some advice? Yeah, I just did share. I'm using the USPS, United States Postal Service. You have to fill out a separate form, and in fact, to be honest with you, you really don't have to fill out the form. You're supposed to, but in one of the more recent ones, I got another mailbox about a month ago, and the guy didn't have any of the forms available. So he said, don't worry about it. Just, you know, format your address using the street address of the post office and then the pound sign and the number of the mailbox. They tell you not to use suite or box number or anything like that. You just use the pound sign, and that's it. And they're real particular about that. I'm not sure why. But they still delivered the Google verification postcard to the correct mailbox, so it didn't matter. Okay? Let's see. Okay, 5-minute warning. I see. He says, I have a lead gen site that's stuck on page 2 that I do not have any citations for because of the business address, looking for a solution. Yeah, go get an address, guys. I mean, the way I look at it, guys, is organic listings for local is really almost worthless in my opinion now. And I know that's probably going to piss some of you guys off, but the problem is if you go look at a web browser, if you're on a desktop or a laptop and you do a local search now, guys, there's 4 AdWords ads above the 3-pack, and then there's the 3-pack. So you got to scroll, below the fold before you even see an organic listing, and you got to go past 7 other listings to get to the organic listings. And so because of that, I am starting to do a hell of a lot more paid traffic stuff, AdWords stuff, and I focus on maps for SEO for local. I really don't care about organic anymore for local. For local, just make that real clear, guys. I focus on maps for local, and I'm starting to do AdWords. In fact, the local Kingpin training that I'm developing right now is specifically about how to set up funnels and generate traffic using paid traffic so that you don't have to worry about the SEO. That will be an additional option if you want. But I'm just saying, guys, seriously, organic SEO, like for in my opinion, based on my lead gen business, all of those that I had ranked organically but didn't have maps listings for, those phone calls have seriously declined over the last couple months for my organic lead gen businesses only, because they're now so far below the paid ads and the maps listings that my phone calls dried up. However, all my maps listings that are the ones that I have maps listings for that are ranked in the 3-packs, there's been no change in the amount of call volume. So, but my organic listing call volume has seriously declined over the last several months because of the new format of the search engine results pages. So I'm just saying, guys, I think, as SEOs, we have to evolve with the times. And I think, I never did AdWords before in my life, and I just recently started doing it, and I'm learning a lot about it right now. And I think it's something that should be included in an SEO campaign now. I truly believe that. I think that it should be a combination of organic SEO, paid traffic from multiple sources, not just AdWords, but Facebook, Bing, YouTube, AdWords for YouTube. I think there's a lot of various options for traffic generation that you shouldn't put all your eggs in just the SEO basket. If that makes sense. Because guys, what happens if Google changes their algorithm tomorrow and all your work drops because you got, whatever? I mean, you're screwed. But at least if you got AdWords campaigns, you still got traffic coming to your site. We're generating traffic to client sites or lead gen sites, whatever. So we're going to be doing more training in the future about AdWords. That's kind of what I'm working on now. All right, so I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just to finish that, and just to show you the power of that map and how much Google trusts it, I actually had a website de-indexed by Google, right? But it was a verified entity, meaning that it had a verified Google My Business listing with the phone number, with the link to the website, and everything was still up, all of the links and everything, and the phone number. And so it continued getting calls even though the website was de-indexed, and it was getting visits from the map listing because there's a link to the website, right? And so even though the website was de-indexed, it didn't matter because the calls didn't change that much. I mean, what is it? It's about 80-20, right? 80-90% of the calls come through the map listing. And so if that happens to you, you don't even have to worry about your website being indexed because Google is still going to trust you enough to display all of your information on the maps and rank it and just keep it. So
well, yeah, because it's not your website. I just thought I'd
throw that out there.
Yeah, you're right, Marco, because it's not the website that ranks in maps, it's the maps listing.
Correct.
Yeah. So that's a good point. And that's why, like I said, honestly, guys, I don't care about organic rankings for my lead gen sites anymore. Like, I just focus on maps, and now AdWords too. I'm doing that too. So, all right, we're almost out of time. We're going to answer a couple more real quick. Ganti says, Bradley, can you give me a link to your curation course? Did you already drop that, Adam? I'm assuming you did.
Yeah, Lulian. Anyways, whoever's right above there.
I think he was talking about curation mastering and probably the one we did with Scott Scanlon.
Yeah, he's good to go, though.
Okay.
We answered his questions.
Okay. All right, let's see. Cody. All right, this will be the last question. We're going to answer Cody's question. Hi guys, I have a client that I recently started working with. We created him a new, better optimized website according to best practices for marketing and SEO. One issue we're having is that he has a lot of old blog posts that were way over optimized. My question is how best to handle these blog posts. They are great subject matter, but they are keyword stuffed and just terrible in terms of best practices for SEO. We were considering taking them down, revamping them, and then reposting them in a drip. Obviously, our concern is that this would create 404s. Should we redirect them to the home page, or would the 404s be less of an issue than a bunch of stuffed content? No, because, all right. So what I would do is I would do a full analysis of the old blog posts, like the backlink analysis, to see which posts had links built to them already. Because what you'll probably find is a lot of the posts don't have any links, or that the ones that might have a few links, but they're really insignificant links anyways. That really aren't benefiting the site any. And you would just have to like use Majestic or Ahrefs or whatever and do a backlink analysis and go sort by pages or posts and start looking at the backlinks, and you'll probably see a lot of them don't even have backlinks pointing to them anyways. So for those, you don't need to worry about 404s or any of that. If you do have backlink, the ones that don't have any links pointing to them, I'm saying. The ones that do have backlinks pointing to them, if they were decent backlinks, then yeah, you'd want to set up a 301 redirect to either link to the new version of the post, the one that has been like less optimized, it's been edited and made better, or you could redirect it to the home page or something like that. But what I would suggest doing is redirecting to potentially a subdomain on the site or something. So the posts that have URLs pointing to them, like backlinks pointing to them, that might not be the highest quality backlinks, you can still benefit a little bit from that juice, although I would probably just go ahead and remove them or redirect that old post URL to something like a subdomain to where you can benefit a bit from the domain authority from those backlinks, but it wouldn't be pointing directly to your money site. Does that make sense? That's what I would do. And then I would absolutely redo the content though and have it dripped out at as new posts. Okay, so the only old posts that you have to worry about redirects are those that had backlinks pointing to them, and the ones that had decent backlinks pointing to them would make sense to redirect them to the new version of the post. But all of the other ones with kind of spammy links, and which you'll find a lot of that probably, is go ahead and redirect those. You can either do, like, what is it, a 408 error code, or a 408 code is when you say no longer exists, or you could do a 301 redirect and redirect them to a subdomain on that root domain, of that domain, which could kind of like push the domain authority still to the domain, but it wouldn't be pointing directly at your money site. You might actually see like when I remove spammy links, like sometimes I'll see an actual ranking boost. So.
If I can just jump in for a second, if he has just a couple of great posts, right, with they're ranked and they're getting traffic and they have great links and whatever, and he's planning on de-optimizing, as long as the slug isn't optimized, then he can just repost it, clean it up and repost it with the same slug.
Yeah.
And he'll eliminate all of the problems of whether you 301, you 404, or whatever. Just ones that are worth keeping, right, with that same slug. That's just another suggestion.
That's not over-optimized.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I've done with some clients. We have actually not taken down, just revamped the content or de-optimized the content. And once you make a new blog post from your IFTTT network, for example, and point links back to that page that has been worked on or de-optimized, and you can recrawl it or send it to be recrawled on Google, you can reap the benefits, because you're lowering the keyword stuffing and the over optimization.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of editing the article or the page.
All right. Well, that was it. That about does it. So everybody, thank you for being here. We do have masterclass today, so we're going to start that in about 8 minutes. It's going to be mainly Q&A today. We've got and then next week we're going to do a webinar after Hump Day Hangouts it will be public, but about how to use Open Broadcaster software, OBS, for live streaming, and we're going to do
nice.
a present. I'm sorry.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, so we're going to do an hour-long presentation, guys. It's free. It's just pure training, and we're going to do that after the Hump Day Hangouts next week. So thanks everybody for being here. We'll see you guys next week.
Adios.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.